where today we're going to be sort of recapping every move made, or every major move made in day one of NFL free agency. There's a lot to get into, so we'll just quickly go right into it. The first move that technically happened before the whole free agency was the Panthers extending J.C. Horn. Thought I'd talk about it because it made him the highest paid defensive back in NFL history. Now, is he the best corner in NFL? Probably not. Is he still a very good corner? Yes. And when you look at how much this is going to be in respect to other top corners in like 2 years, he might be the fourth highest paid cornerback in the league in like 2 years. And not only that, but the salary cap's going to go up. So I don't react too much to money because, like, as I said, the salary cap's just going to keep increasing and the contracts aren't going to get as bad in retrospect, maybe. But I'm going to give this extension a B+, just because it is a lot of money for a guy who hasn't been the healthiest. But when he's on the field, he is one of the best corners. So I'll give it a B+. Next is the Chargers re-signing Khalil Mack. I like this. It's only $18 million. It's only 1 year. You can't let him and Joey Bosa leave. So I'll also give this a B+. Now the first move of actual free agency is Haason Reddick going to the Bucs. Now, Reddick had that great year with the Eagles, but then kind of ruined his market value after the whole contract stuff with the Jets. And we knew he was probably going to get a very cheap, probably 1 year deal. He got less than Khalil Mack did. But I still think Haason Reddick's a very good player. And for a contending team, I mean, the Bucs are going to try and win the division and try and do something in the playoffs. So for a team like that to get a good quality pass rusher when you need help at that spot for only $14 million is a very good deal. So I'll actually give this an A- for the Bucs. However, I'm gonna give this re-signing of Chris Godwin an A+, because you only got him for 3 years, $66 million, and I'm pretty sure there was a report that he turned down an offer that was worth $20 million more because he wanted to play for the Bucs. So the fact that you get to keep Chris Godwin a year after re-signing Baker, a year after re-signing Mike Evans, you get Chris Godwin back on a much cheaper deal than he was probably worth, is a steal, in my opinion. So that's why I give this an A+. Another A+ contract is the Bears getting Drew Dalman, in my opinion. It's just under $15 million per year, and you get one of the better centers in the league, the best center on the market. You pair him alongside Tooney and Jonah Jackson, who you picked up before free agency via trade, and then you pair those three with the young tackles you have, and now you don't have to go O-lineman in the draft if you're the Bears. So this puts them in a great position. They spend a ton of money on the O-line to help Caleb Williams not run for his life. A+ signing for me. Next is Jalen Moore signing a 2-year, $30 million deal with the Chiefs. Now, I'm not too familiar with Jalen Moore. I'm pretty sure he played pretty well when he came in for Trent Williams last year with the Niners, of course. But considering you're paying for a tackle, $15 million is not that bad. And the Chiefs desperately need help at the O-line. So I'll give this an A- signing, just because I'm not too familiar with Jalen Moore. But if anyone wants to tell me more about Jalen Moore, I'd appreciate that. Next is the Texans signing Braxton Berrios. I mean, I think it's an A signing. And, you're only giving him $2 million. He could be a solid, reliable guy to replace Tank Dell for a year. I mean, it's not the craziest signing because it's just Braxton Berrios, but he's a quality player. $2 million is absolutely nothing, so good signing for the Texans. Javon Kinlaw signing a 3-year, $45 million deal with the Commanders. I think people thought this was quite overpriced. Now, when we get to Milton Williams' contract in a little bit, this looks like nothing. $15 million a year. I mean, he's a quality player, Javon Kinlaw. He's not necessarily, the best. He's not Milton Williams or Jonathan Allen. He's 27 years old. He had an okay season for the Jets. It's a little expensive, but the Commanders do have a lot of money, so I give them a little more leeway to spend that money. So I'll give it a C plus signing just because I think it's a little too expensive for a guy like Javon Kinlaw. Next is the Bengals re-signing B.J. Hill on a 3-year, $33 million contract, which is $4 million less a year annually than the Commanders paid Javon Kinlaw. So I'll probably give this a B signing just because it's good value for a good player like B.J. Hill when your defense desperately needs help. But I just think they need to just pay T. Higgins and eventually pay Jamar Chase. So I don't know how this will factor into that. But the signing alone, I give it a solid B. Next is the Patriots signing Robert Spillane. The money doesn't show up on here, but we might come across it later. But Robert Spillane signing with the Patriots. I mean, he's a good linebacker. I thought he was going to go back to the Raiders considering how much money they had. But I guess the Patriots have insane amounts of money. So they just spent big this free agency, which I like for the Patriots. You have your rookie quarterback who showed you a lot. Build around him and just the whole team as a whole. I like Spillane. I'll give this a B plus signing. Next is Jimmy G signing a 1-year deal to be the Rams' backup. Now, if Stafford was leaving, he would be the starter, and I wouldn't like this. But since Stafford's probably going to be the quarterback, I don't mind Jimmy G as a backup. Again, I'll probably just give it like a B plus. Jordan Lewis signed a 3-year, $30 million deal with the Jags. I think he's the highest paid nickel corner. But to get a very good nickel corner like Jordan Lewis for only $10 million a year, when we just saw J.C. Horn make 25, I know he's an outside receiver, boundary, whatever, and Jordan Lewis is a nickel. But anywho, it's a good pickup for a Jags team that had the money and needed help in that secondary. They don't have a lot there, so I like this pickup for them. A signing for me. Dan Moore to the Titans. People may not be too familiar with Dan Moore, but I really like this signing. He's like 26 years old. Titans, for whoever quarterback they have, whether it's Cam Ward or whatever, they need help protecting his blind side. You get one of the better tackles on the market for just over $20 million a year. I like the value. I like the player, and I like the fit with Tennessee. I'll give it an A plus for Dan Moore. Carlton Davis signing a 3-year, $60 million deal with the Patriots. Now, I've seen a lot of Lions fans upset that they lost Carlton Davis, so I think that means this is a good pickup for New England, who had the money. $20 million is not that bad for Carlton Davis. He's a very good corner. Maybe a little bit expensive, but he's still a very good corner, so I'll probably give it an A minus for the Patriots signing Carlton Davis. I know we're going through these fast, but there's a lot to get through. Next up, the Lions replaced Carlton Davis by signing Jets corner DJ Reed. I'll probably give this like a B plus. DJ Reed's, he didn't have the greatest season. No one really on the Jets had the best season last year. Now he gets to play for a contender in the Lions. He fills in that Carlton Davis. He replaces what Carlton Davis was. I'm not mad at it. Like I said, B plus for me. Now, the big splurge of the offseason was the Patriots signing Milton Williams to a $26 million per year deal. Now, Milton Williams was the best D tackle on the board, probably could potentially even the best free agent on the board, offense or defense. So for the Patriots to spend big money to get him is huge for them. Now, it's a little pricey, $26 million per year. It is a lot. I do think he is still a great player, but maybe being next to Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith and all those guys maybe helped him a little. Who knows? And he doesn't necessarily have that same talent on the Patriots, even though they got a guy like Harold Landry who didn't have, an amazing season for the money they gave him. But I'll give it a B plus just because I think it's a little pricey for me. Next is the Panthers getting Trayvon Moehrig for a 3-year, $51 million deal. Probably another B plus signing. Again, great player. Fills a huge need for the team he signed to in the Panthers. great young player, physical corner or safety, but I think it could be a little pricey as well. So I'll give it also a B plus. But I like this pickup, as the Panthers spent, just like the Patriots, spent big on defense in this first day. Next is the Rams signing Poona Ford to a 3-year deal, just about $30 million. I really like this signing. I'm gonna give this signing an A for the Rams. Poona Ford had a very good sort of breakout year with the Chargers last season, and now he adds to that young D-line of Jared Verse and Braden Fisk. And you only paid him $10 million a year when we see Javon Kinlaw make $15 million a year, when we see Milton Williams make $26 a year. To get a guy like Poona Ford away from the Chargers for $10 million, I like that. So I'll give it an A signing for the Rams. Next is the Seahawks signing Sam Darnold to a 3-year, nearly $100 million contract. Do I think Sam Darnold's worth $100 million? Not necessarily. I still think it's a good pickup for the Seahawks to get a quarterback. Now, how will he do away from the Viking system, away from Kevin O'Connell, not having Jefferson and Addison and Hockenson and just having JSN because the Seahawks got rid of all their receivers? I know it's a quarterback, so he's going to make a lot of money, but I don't know if I'm liking giving Sam Darnold $100 million. Again, I like him being on the Seahawks, but I don't necessarily like the money, so I'll probably be in the middle and give it a B signing for Sam Darnold. The other quarterback that got signed after Darnold was Justin Fields, signing a 2-year, $40 million deal with the Jets. Again, kind of like $20 million for Fields isn't horrible, especially because it's only 2 years. It still allows you to draft a quarterback if you want. Because if you draft a QB and Fields only starts for 1 year, you only got him for 20. You got him. He's an expiring contract at that point. So you're not committing really to Fields, and then if he works out, you can extend him. I like this signing. The reason I like this signing is because you pair him with Garrett Wilson, who there's all from college when they played together. Because there's all these rumors about potentially Garrett Wilson getting traded. This seems like a move that could be the reason Garrett Wilson wants to stay with the Jets, because they got his college quarterback. So I think this might have been a move. This is not true or anything, but I feel like this could have been done to keep Garrett Wilson happy and from requesting a trade. And if that's the case, I really like the signing for that reason. And I also like Justin Fields as well, so I'll give this an A- signing as well, because they're not committing too much to him. Next is Cam Bynum signing a 4-year, $60 million deal with the Colts, just under the money that the Panthers gave Moehrig, but you got him for 4 years. I like Cam Bynum, had a breakout year with the Vikings. Colts needed help in that secondary. I think this is a A+ signing for me. Speaking of another potential A+ signing, is the Bears signing Dayo Odeyingbo to a 3-year, $48 million contract, just over $15 a year, for a very good quality young edge rusher to a Bears team that outside of Montez Sweat had nobody to rush the passer. I like the pickup. I won't give it an A+. I'll give it an A for the Bears getting Odeyingbo. Next up is the Jags signing Dyami Brown to a 1-year, $10 million deal. He's a quality player, quality receiver, had a very good playoff run with the Commanders. I'll give it an A-. I'll give it a B+. Because honestly, I think they should have gave him more years. Because I think Dyami Brown's pretty good. But next is the Broncos getting Hufanga for 3 years, $45 million. I love this signing for another reason that we'll get into later. But for now, I know he was injured. I know he struggled to stay healthy last year. But just the year before, he had an incredible, I think he made All-Pro. And to get him for only $15 million, that's $6 million less in total than Moehrig got. I love Hufanga. And if he can get anywhere close to that All-Pro season, this will be a great pickup for the Broncos. A+ signing for me. Next is the Bills getting Josh Palmer for a 3-year, $36 million deal. I like Josh Palmer. Committing 3 years, $36 million. I mean, it's not that bad. Dyami Brown got 10 his 1-year deal, and Palmer got 13 a year. So it's not a bad deal. The Bills need help at receiver, especially because I think they lost Mac Hollins. Outside of Keon Coleman, I mean, you still have Coleman, Shakir, Curtis Samuel. So maybe you didn't need to spend $13 million a year on Josh Palmer. So I'll give it a B for Josh Palmer. Next is a very obvious signing, even though I didn't predict it. It's Josh Sweat signing a 4-year, $76 million deal with the Cardinals. I think this is great value for Josh Sweat. Let me get the calculator. It's $19 million a year for a very good pass rusher who had a very good playoff run on a team. The Cardinals had money. Like, this isn't like their only contract they were able to give out. Like, this did not take that big of a dent into their total salary cap, and you get one of the better pass rushers on the market, maybe the best pass rusher in free agency, and just one of the top, a very good pass rusher just in general. I think this is an A+ signing for the Cardinals. Next is the Bears, who, before the free agency started, the Falcons cut Grady Jarrett, so the Bears pick him up on a 3-year, nearly $45 million deal. I like the pickup. He is on the older side, but he's still a great D tackle. I'll give it a B+ signing for the Bears, just beefing up the trenches, O-line, D-line. I like the pickup. Next is the Packers signing Aaron Banks to a 4-year, $77 million contract to, again, about $19 million or so annually. I mean, the Packers needed help at that position. They get a 27-year-old guard who's played well. I don't know too much about Aaron Banks, just like Jalen Moore. I don't hate the money you paid him. Paying a guard $19 million is not that bad. So I like the pickup. I'll give it a B. I'll give it an A- for the Packers getting Aaron Banks. Now this came out of nowhere. Laramie Tunsil getting traded to the Commanders. Tunsil and a 4th getting traded to the Commanders for a 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Now for the Commanders, I really like this trade. I know he's been like penalized a lot, but he's still a very good tackle. Help out your young quarterback, Jaden Daniels. Yeah, you gave up a 2nd and a 3rd and a 4th, but I'm only really upset about giving up the 2nd. I like this trade for the Commanders. I'll give it an A for the Commanders, and honestly, I'm gonna give it a D- for the Texans. Your star franchise face of the franchise QB, CJ Stroud, who had one of the best rookie quarterback seasons of all time, had a bit of a down year in his 2nd year, considering what he did his rookie season. And a huge part of that was he had no help. I think he was the most pressured he might have been, he either was the most or the 2nd most like pressured and sacked quarterback in the league. And it was a big reason why he had somewhat of a sophomore slump or whatever. And now you trade away his best O-lineman, and we'll get into they traded another O-lineman later, I think. But I don't know why you do this with the Texans. I mean, a 2nd, 3rd, and 4th isn't a horrible return, but I don't like this for the Texans at all. Next is the Raiders getting Jeremy Chinn on a 2-year, $16 million deal. I don't hate it. You lost Moehrig, so you get a cheaper quality player like Jeremy Chinn. As long as you know how to use him schematically, he'll be a great pickup. I like it. I'll give it a B+ for the Raiders. Next is Dante Jackson signing a 2-year, $13 million deal with the Chargers. I'll probably give this a B-. Dante's a little bit, he's on the older side. He has his injury issues, and he's a little inconsistent. But for a Chargers team that needs just depth at corner and has a lot of money, this isn't a horrible deal. So I'll give it a B- for the Chargers. Next is the Jets signing Brandon Stephens to a 3-year, $36 million deal. I like the pickup. You needed to replace DJ Reed. I'll give it a B+ because I like Brandon Stephens, and it's not too much money either. We saw Brandon Stephens make $13 million a year. Now the Packers gave Nate Hobbs $12 million a year, which I think is a steal for Nate Hobbs. 4 years, $48 million. You could lose Jair Alexander, so to get that replacement or a guy to play with Jair Alexander, great pickup, steal of a deal for me. 4 years as well, A+ signing for the Packers and Nate Hobbs. I mean, I won't grade this trade, but Eagles trading Kenny Pickett to the Browns for DTR and a 5th. I mean, Browns get a quality backup in Kenny Pickett, because who knows what their quarterback's going to be, so he can be the competition maybe with a rookie like Shedeur. And then the Eagles just get a backup in DTR. Patriots signed Josh Dobbs for a 2-year deal. Quality backup as well. You might lose Brissett, so have him back up Drake May. I like that. Colts signed Charvarius Ward to a 3-year deal worth up to $60 million. $20 million is a lot, but again, J.C. Horton made 25, so I'm not mad at 20 for Charvarius Ward. One of the better corners in the league. I know he had a down year, but the stuff he went through, it's okay why he had a down year. I like Charvarius Ward a lot. One of the better corners in the league, in my opinion. You only get him for 20. You get him for a good deal. I'll give it an A+ for the Colts. Texans signing Justin Watson. I mean, you got Braxton Berrios and Justin Watson for Stroud, and you lost Tunzel. The signing itself isn't bad. I'll probably give it a B+, but in the grand scheme of what they've done this offseason, I haven't been a big fan of it. Zach Wilson signing a 1-year deal with the Dolphins to be their backup. Again, just an okay backup for the Dolphins. And then the last signing we'll get through, because this is where this video is taking a long time. I'm pretty sure this might have happened on day 2, but this will be our last signing for day 1. It's the Vikings signing center Ryan Kelly to a 2-year, $18 million deal, including $9 million guaranteed. I really like this signing for the Vikings, because obviously we'll talk about this, all the other moves tomorrow, as that's day 2 of free agency. Again, this might be technically day 2 as well, but actually no, we got more to talk about. What am I talking about? There's way more to talk about. I like this pickup for the Vikings. One of the better centers in the league on the market too. Very cheap deal, A+ signing. Next is the Panthers getting Tershawn Wharton to a 3-year, $54 million. I really like this pickup. I'll give it an A for the Panthers, because you swung out and missed on Milton Williams because you didn't want to give him $26 million. So you get potentially one of the next best, maybe not the next best, but one of the next best D tackles on the market for a cheaper deal. I really like the pickup for the Panthers. A for that one. Giants re-signing Darius Slayton. I'll give this an A, because you got him for 3 years. He's been a quality receiver for you. And honestly, I expect him to, and he probably could have made a lot more money. So to get him for a 3-year, $36 million deal, great value, A for me. Matt Collins signing a 2-year, $8 million deal that maxes out to about 10 with the Patriots. This is the help you get Drake May. Obviously, he's not the top-end receiver that maybe we hope the Patriots could get. There's still some decent receivers, though. It's a very cheap deal. I like Matt Collins. I'll give it a B+. Javonte Williams signing a 1-year. The Cowboys made a move. They signed Javonte Williams to a 1-year, $3 million deal. $3 million for Javonte is not that bad. I'll give it a B. Dre Greenlaw to the Broncos, A+ signing for me. You pair him alongside Hufanga, so maybe the Hufanga signing allowed you to then get Dre Greenlaw. And again, I know he had a down year with injuries, but to get Dre Greenlaw for just over $10 million a year is a steal, in my opinion. When healthy, when playing at his best, he's arguably one of the best middle linebackers in all of football. Love that signing for the Broncos. We got 2 more signings to get through. First one, Najee Harris. 1-year deal is, non-committal. You have a ton of money, and it's only $9 million for Najee Harris. I think this is a great pickup. A- for the Chargers. And last signing of the day, of day 1 of NFL free agency, that we're going to talk about, and that is some of the other deals might happen on day 1, but this video is taking a long time. last deal, Chase Young, 3-year, $51 million's a lot for Chase Young, in my opinion. He had a good year on the Saints, but I don't know if he had a 3-year, $51 million deal. I'll probably give this a C+, to be honest. Considering you don't have money and you pay that to Chase Young, I'm not a fan of it. He's still a good player, so it's not like a D or anything, but I'll give it a C+ for the Saints. And with all that being said, that will conclude, for now, our Day 1 NFL free agency recap. Obviously, we'll be doing a Day 2 recap after Day 2. So stay tuned for that. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And please make sure to subscribe. Helps the channel a lot. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.